Good evening. Hello and welcome to the News Today, your primetime destination. News, newsmakers, talking points. Tuesday night, the Prime Minister is meeting the Sindoor outreach delegations. I'll be joined by one of the members of that delegation, Milind Deora. Has the outreach really made a difference, or was it more hype and optics? Also, the Karnataka Stampede, Netas are evading responsibility. Who will take political accountability in Karnataka? Also, the honeymoon murder. Meghalaya Chief Minister speaks out at the manner in which his state has been demonized, he says, by the media. So we've got plenty tonight on the show, But first tonight, the breaking news at the top of the news today. The Prime Minister has met the delegation members who had gone as part of the Operation Sindoor outreach that the government of India had launched. The delegation members have been in conversation with the Prime Minister, who's hosting a dinner for all of them. 7 all-party delegations visited 33 countries over the last fortnight. That image will go viral. Shashi Tharoor meeting the Prime Minister. Ghulam Nabi Azad, former congressman, also among those who met the Prime Minister. So several leaders, but a lot of attention in particular on Shashi Tharoor, who, remember, led one of those delegations amidst a controversy because his party was miffed with the tone, they said, that Tharoor had adopted in embracing the Prime Minister's offer. Delegations highlighted, we are told, India's stand on terror, and the Prime Minister thanked them for their efforts. So that's the news that's coming out at the moment. Those visuals of various members from that delegation, among them Ghulam Nabi Azad, Shashi Tharoor, Anand Sharma, also of the Congress party. So members across political parties meeting with the Prime Minister at that delegation, in those delegation level talks. Now, among those who is part of those delegations is Milind Deora. He was part, in fact, of the Shashi Tharoor-led delegation that went to the United States, Central and South America. And just before that dinner, I caught up with Milind Deora to find out, was this outreach about optics or has something substantial been achieved? Take a look. And joining me now is one of the members of the all-party delegation that has just returned and is meeting the Prime Minister. Milind Deora is the Shiv Sena MP. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Deora. You're back from a rather hectic tour of 5 nations, particularly in North and South America. I want to ask you, there are 2 views of these visits. One believes that this was just optics and hype. The other, that this was a substantial, important outreach. Is the truth somewhere in between, Milind Deora, honestly?
Quite honestly, the truth is that these were extremely essential, very important visits. It was essential for India to present a unified message to the world. There is a new doctrine that the government has announced that India will no longer tolerate terrorism if it is state-sponsored and coming from across our borders. And sending a unified message that the country stands and speaks in one voice is unprecedented and was essential. So I can't imagine that anyone would say that this was unintended and that this was not essential. In fact, anyone who would do that would probably crying sour grapes.
It's not, Mr. Deora, about being unintended. Those who are questioning it say, why haven't more countries come out openly and questioned Pakistan, condemned Pakistan? They've condemned terror, but very few of them are condemning Pakistan, which is the sponsor and financer of terror. So then what does this diplomatic outreach achieve, is their argument?
Firstly, let me say that my delegation visited 5 countries in the Americas, in South America, Central America, and North America. We visited Guyana, Panama, Colombia, Brazil, and the US. Somebody might ask, what is the relevance of visiting a country like Panama or Guyana? Now, the fact is that Panama and Guyana are non-permanent members of the Security Council, where countries remain members for 2 years. The US, as we know, is a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. And a country doesn't have to issue a statement when we're visiting that country. In fact, every country that we visited issued a public statement. The foreign minister of that country, the president of those countries, when we met them, the heads of state, the Indian embassy in those countries issued unequivocal, unconditional statements against Pakistan, against cross-border terrorism, and in favor of India. But ultimately, what counts is in the meeting of the United Nations Security Council. And in that meeting, it's very clear that every single country that India has strong relations with have unequivocally condemned Pakistan and unequivocally supported India. So, with
But
due respect,
at the same time, Mr. Deora, at the same time, Mr. Deora, Pakistan is now a co-chairman of a committee on counter-terrorism at the Security Council. It's also heading a committee on Taliban sanctions. So people will ask the question that Pakistan gets its loans from IMF, gets its loans from ADB, gets its loans from World Bank. What are we doing to tell the world enough is enough, that you need to take firmer action?
But that's contradicting the earlier statement where you're saying that these are unnecessary things, because that's exactly what these delegations set out to do. They set out to tell the world, from a parliamentarians to parliamentarian delegation, this is in some ways a form of track to diplomacy. Governments and governments interact. When parliamentarians and parliamentarians interact, when parliamentarians and business leaders, when parliamentarians in the Indian diaspora, when parliamentarians and local citizens, local business people, the Speaker of Parliament, journalists interact, people get a very different flavor of what's happening. And I think in that sense, the visit has been, the Operation Sindoor, not just my delegation, but all 7 delegations have been a huge success, a roaring success, because number one, the countries were chosen by the Ministry of External Affairs very, very smartly, very strategically. Almost all the countries chosen are non-permanent members or will be becoming non-permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. The delegates were chosen very, very carefully to represent not just all political parties, all hues of the opposition and government, treasury benches and opposition benches, but frankly, all regions of India, from people from the Northeast, people from Northern India, people from Southern India, people from Central India, people from Western India, speaking different languages, representing different religions, representing different political ideologies. And that's why I can tell you that in every United Nations Security Council resolution, all these countries that we visited have expressed unequivocal support for India. Yes, Pakistan does have its own allies. Pakistan, for instance, does have China. Now, mind you, when the terror attack happened and the organization called the Resistance Front claimed credit for this attack in Pahalgam, when the United Nations Security Council, led by India and its allies, were issuing a press statement condemning Pakistan for cross-border terrorism, it's China who helped Pakistan. So it's essential that we too have our allies. And that's exactly what the government and the people of India are setting out to do. So I don't frankly see any politics in this. My experience was, went into to 5 countries led by a senior leader of the opposition who's been a foreign minister, who's a member of the Congress party, who is a former diplomat, served in the United Nations up to the level of Under Secretary General of the United Nations. They were members of the opposition in my delegation.
Mr. Deora, I take your point. I'll come to the politics in a moment. I take your point. You've made a very, you've given me a very comprehensive answer. I believe you also met, importantly, the US Vice President, J.D. Vance. I also saw your pictures with several other leading American senators. So it seemed a bit more high profile, with Shashi Tharoor taking the lead compared to some of the other delegations who reportedly were not able to meet heads of state. In that sense, how did the meeting with J.D. Vance go? Is America fully supportive of India's stand? Because ever since Donald Trump tweeted the ceasefire announcement, there have been those in this country, including Rahul Gandhi and others, who are questioning, was this done under US pressure, this ceasefire? How was your meeting with J.D. Vance? Were you all able to send out the right messages? And how did he respond?
So firstly, Rajdeep, our delegation in countries like Guyana and countries like Panama, we met no one less than the heads of state. You're right. In the United States, we met the Vice President of America. We met the chairman and members of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, chairman and members of the Senate Intelligence Committee, chairman and members of the House Relations Committee, which is lower house. They have committees for the lower house and committees for the upper house. We met the chair and members of the India caucus on Capitol Hill. Everybody from Guyana to the United States understands India's position. Everybody supports India's right to defend itself. And quite honestly, our delegation's message was not to compare ourselves with Pakistan. Nobody compares India to Pakistan. Everybody knows that Pakistan is a failed state. You can call it a banana republic. You can call it a rogue state. You can call it a state where the army has a civilian government and not the other way around. But people understand India is an emerging power, economic power, cultural power. People know that India is the fourth largest, fastest growing economy in the world.
But did you tell a JD Vance that the comments that a Donald Trump keeps making embarrass India? That if Donald Trump keeps saying he's the one who's hyphenating India and Pakistan, it's not you, but Donald Trump is.
What we said in private is not something I will share on a channel, as you would appreciate. That's what the meeting with the Prime Minister of India is about. Those are things which will be briefed through official channels. But I can say this very confidently on record that every country, including the United States, understands India's position, supports India's position, has nothing to gain or do with Pakistan. People may want non-escalation. That doesn't mean anyone's hyphenating India with Pakistan. That doesn't mean anyone has anything to do with Pakistan. These are countries like the United States. They just banned people from most countries. Pakistan just managed to slip through that. They don't have any trade with Pakistan. They have no cultural exchanges with Pakistan. They have no strategic...
Yes, but Pakistan is off the FATF list and the United States continues to have a strong engagement with Pakistan. But my question to you, Milind Deora, in conclusion, you made an important point saying these visits were above politics. You had people from all over the country. But domestically, there's politics. Your former party, Congress, its leader, Rahul Gandhi, says Narendra surrender. Says virtually we surrendered to Pakistan. He wants to know how many jets were down. These questions are being raised at home. They want a special session, the Congress, on to discuss all issues. They want to discuss the security lapses in Pahalgam. So is it a case of unity abroad, but at home there is division? Shashi Tharoor is being attacked by his own party. He's called a super spokesperson of the BJP. How do you respond?
How can I respond to what the Congress is saying and what is their criticism of Dr. Shashi Tharoor? All I'll say is Dr. Shashi Tharoor is someone who I've known for a long time. He has always kept his country, his interests above his party interests and his own interests. That's all I would like to say about him. As far as people making comments, making sensational comments, honestly, not one person in any of these 5 countries, not even a journalist, asked us about those comments. So I don't think those comments are taken seriously in other countries. People will do politics. That's unfortunate of them. I've always said this, and I repeat this point, that I believe in a politics where when it comes to India's sovereignty, when it comes to India, when a foreign country is attacking India, we should steer clear of politics that will help those foreign countries. We should stand by the government. The unfortunate part is certain leaders in the opposition start out by saying we stand with the government has our unequivocal support, but then can't resist doing politics and ultimately end up digging their own grave. Now, to those leaders,
are you referring to Rahul Gandhi because he says that he has every right? Surely, opposition leaders have the right to ask questions, Mr. Milind Deora.
I believe everyone has a right to ask questions. Everyone has a right to demand accountability. Everyone has a right to make suggestions. There is a way to do it constructively. There is a way to do it in a manner that befits one's age, that befits one's seniority, that befits one's position, and that befits one's experience. Now, if people don't want to do something and say things that befit their age, experience, maturity, then naturally people will tend to call their comments immature, inexperienced, or...
You're referring to Rahul Gandhi, presumably, here again.
I'm referring, frankly, to there have been a lot of opposition leaders who made immature comments. And then they should not criticize other people and other parties for saying that they are running a campaign against us to call us immature. If people make immature comments, naturally the country will call them immature. People have to know when to rise above politics, when to become statesman-like, when to stand for the country, and at the same time, when to criticize the government, when to give suggestions to the government, when to demand accountability, but in a constructive manner, not in an immature way. Now, that's a training, unfortunately, party seniors in those parties should give younger MPs and younger leaders, but that's something I can only wish them well.
Net, what is the biggest gain according net, because there has been, as I said, question marks over these visits. Are they at taxpayers' money? MPs going on a joyride. You're saying it was serious business, reaching out to different countries. I know you got Colombia to change its mind also and make a strong statement on what happened in Pahalgam. But overall, if you were to respond to all those who say that our diplomatic outreach was too little too late, our communication strategies have not been convincing, and therefore these MPs were needed to compensate for the failures of the government? What will you tell them?
I would say this visit was the entire Operation Sindoor, the diplomatic part of Operation Sindoor, as was the military part, was a roaring success. It was essential to send multi-party MPs representing different parties, different parts of India, to not to take permission or approval from any country, but simply to explain India's stand. And I think that has gone down extremely well with all these countries, as I mentioned, some of whom are permanent members of the UN Security Council, others who are non-permanent members or will be becoming non-permanent members. As far as
will any of these countries put Pakistan on the will any of these countries put Pakistan back on the Financial Action Task Force grey list? Because that's surely one way.
I'm sure that the ultimate forum is the United Nations Security Council, where all the countries be visited, where we have traditional relations with these countries. They are important partners of India, that they have nothing to gain from Pakistan, Rajdeep. So there's no comparison to Pakistan. They will stand by India. But as far as the comment about taxpayers' money being used for this visit, let me tell you, for our delegation, flying to the United States, it's not easy, it's tiring, there's jet lag. Every single day, we landed in a particular country. We had literally, from the point we landed, we had meetings all the way through the night. We had receptions. The next morning, we would often check our bags out. All day have meetings. Late night, take a 3 a.m. flight to another country, start all over again. Most of us, including myself, including the leader of our delegation, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, couldn't sleep on planes, barely got any sleep. We were all pumping vitamin C. We were doing this for our country. So I would say this is an unfortunate comment. We did our level best. I think this was an essential exercise to undertake by the government of India. And mind you, it was the delegations were not just touching about Operation Sindoor and Pakistan and terror attacks. We were talking about many other issues. We were talking about trade. We were talking about culture. We were talking about inter-party, inter-parliament exchanges between these countries. So it was long overdue. We visited some of these countries where for 20 years, parliamentary delegations have not visited those countries. And these have been traditional, long-standing allies, supporters of India. So these countries, I think it was a huge, powerful exercise which has done the Indian citizen, the Indian government, yeoman service. It has helped us and it has helped strengthen our cause overseas and in India.
Okay. Milind Deora, for speaking for giving us your views, speaking so candidly and clearly. I appreciate you joining me on my show tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, more breaking news now coming in. Mumbai police sources have told India today that the Baba Siddiqui murder mastermind has been held in Canada. The former Congress leader turned NCP Neta from Mumbai. Sources now saying Zishan Akhtar, alias Jassi, alias Yasin Akhtar, has been detained in Canada. Sources saying the procedure will be now initiated to get Zishan Akhtar back to the country. Ex-MLA Baba Siddiqui was shot dead outside his Mumbai office last year. That's the story we're getting. Divesh Singh, who tracks the Mumbai police, joins us. Divesh, what more can you tell us on this story? Who is this person who allegedly is behind the murder of Baba Siddiqui?
Well, Zishan Akhtar, Rajdeep, is a member of the Lawrence Bishnoi gang. He is aligned with the Lawrence Bishnoi gang and hired, roped in one of the shooters who carried out the shooting on Baba Siddiqui, killing him last year outside the office at Bandra East. Baba Siddiqui was shot dead, and after that, these shooters were held. 2 shooters were held on the spot. 1 shooter was held later, and that has been the conspiracy that was hatched to kill Baba Siddiqui. It was uncovered. Police found out that Zishan Akhtar was one of the masterminds.
So you're saying, and we should flash that, you're saying that this is Lawrence Bishnoi's gang member who has been detained in Canada for his alleged involvement in Baba Siddiqui's murder. Am I correct?
Yes, he's been aligned with Lawrence Bishnoi gang, and that has come to light from the investigation, from the charge sheet filed by Mumbai police. Though Mumbai police did not charge sheet Lawrence Bishnoi in this case, but they did in one of the remand reports that they had submitted in court. They did mention that these shooters and the mastermind were in touch with Anmol Bishnoi, the brother of Lawrence Bishnoi, who's been held in US. And now Zishan Akhtar has been arrested or detained
Right.
in Canada, and that is also a success for Mumbai police. Okay, they'll try and communicate with the Canadian authorities so that he could be extradited and brought back to India to face law, to be tried under Indian law for the murder of Baba Siddiqui.
Devesh Singh joining us with that piece of breaking news. Zishan Akhtar, member of Lawrence Bishnoi gang, detained in Canada, allegedly in connection with the murder of Baba Siddiqui. Let's turn from there to our other big story tonight. The blame game over the Karnataka Stampede that last week left 11 dead and over 40 injured in Bengaluru continues. Sources now telling us that the Congress top brass, which met with Karnataka leaders today, wants some answers. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and Deputy Chief Minister Shivakumar met Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge. But so far, there are no demands for heads to roll. The question is, a week later, will there be any political accountability for what happened in Bengaluru? Take a look.
The Bengaluru Stampede that killed 11 is causing tremors within the Congress. Top sources in the party tell India Today that Rahul Gandhi is upset and was considering a cabinet reshuffle. Sources say that Home and Deputy Chief Minister portfolios were under review and BK Hariprasad and RV Deshpande are likely to be inducted. A high-level meet was held in Delhi, which was attended by Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge, KC Venugopal, Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and Deputy Chief Minister DK Shivakumar. Shivakumar rejected reports of any cabinet reshuffle.
We have a detailed... General Secretary has spoken already, everything, it is one voice, one party.
Congress General Secretary Venugopal confirmed the Bengaluru Stampede figured in the talks.
The government of Karnataka has already ordered a judicial inquiry to find out what exactly happened. During the course of judicial inquiry, party didn't want to involve into the nitty-gritty of the issue.
Earlier at a meeting in Bengaluru, the state leadership considered action against the Chief Secretary. They blamed short notice for the lack of security. After first blaming police, the government is now blaming the system.
ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೋರ್ಟಿಗೆ ಅವರೇನು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳು ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಉತ್ತರ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. ಅಡ್ವೊಕೇಟ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲ ತಯಾರು ಮಾಡಿ ಅವರು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳಬೇಕೋ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಚೀಫ್ ಸೆಕ್ರೆಟರಿ ಅವರು ಅಡ್ವೊಕೇಟ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
This even as the High Court grilled the Congress government, posing 9 questions. Who took the decision to hold the victory bash? Who was in charge of regulating traffic? What steps were taken? What medical facilities available? What was the crowd expected? If the injured were attended to immediately? What were the SOPs put in place by the government? And a permission was sought for the event. As blame game continues, grieving families are demanding accountability.
बिना गवर्नमेंट की वो आयोजन कर सकता, पुलिस वो कार्यक्रम आयोजन कर सकता था? कैसे कर सकता? उसका पूरा प्लान और सब थिंग उसका है ना, सब वो उसका हिसाब से ही चलता है ना.
As the political heat rises in Karnataka, the High Command in Delhi could decide who takes the fall. With Sagai Raj in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
So let's ask the big question. Why is there still no political accountability for what happened in Bengaluru a week later? Is the Siddaramaiah versus DKS battle brewing and at the heart of what has gone wrong in Karnataka? Joining me now is Bhaskar Rao, former police commissioner and spokesperson of the Karnataka BJP, and Deepak Thimaya, spokesperson of the Congress. Mr. Thimaya, a week tomorrow since what happened, that tragic event in Bengaluru, no political heads have rolled. We've had RCB officials being arrested, the event managers being arrested, we've had police officers being suspended, but the politicians are not being touched. What's the message today? Even after the meeting with Rahul Gandhi, it seems no heads will roll.
Mr. Sardesai, I would like to ask a very simple question. When you say that, so many heads have to roll, if at all you assume that heads have to roll, and particularly the political heads, I mean, there should be at least a claim in the sense, what is your justification for asking something like that? Because, this was completely a law and order situation, which should have been managed by the police, and this should have not even gone to the political heads. It doesn't happen
I'll tell you why.
99%
I'll tell you why.
of the
Because I'll
cases.
tell you why I asked the question. Because even though the police denied permission, the events took place, and that could not have happened without the sanction of either the Chief Minister's office or the Deputy Chief Minister's office. So the police become the fall guys here.
You yourself know that that's just an assumption, right? Because there is
Not at
no
all.
proof.
Not at all. We have on
Can
record,
you
sir. We have a
provide-
letter of the
anybody-
DCP.
Can anybody provide any kind of justification for a claim like that, saying that the CM or the DCM allowed this to happen?
It's not about the stampede, sir. The fact is that
The stampede-
Deputy Commissioner of Police said that there should not be any event at Vidhan Sauda.
But that
the
was at the
police
Vidhan
commissioner
Sauda,
did
nothing
not give
happened at
any
Vidhan
permission
Sauda.
in writing. Show me one permission in writing.
Nothing happened at the Vidhan Sauda, and that is what I would like to tell you, because this happened at the KCA Stadium. And to
But
actually
again,
compare
permission
these
was
two
not there.
events, that is almost like, comparing two different events altogether. We are talking about the KSCA incident that was basically because of the irresponsibility of the KSCA and also the RCB, which continuously tweeted saying that people could come there, and with almost about 40% of the stadium empty, not allowing people to come in and creating that kind of a euphoria that was not done by the government. And let me tell you, if the government interferes too much, people like you will question, why does the government poke its nose? Why does the government ask these questions? Why does the government stop RCB from celebrating? And if the government, doesn't interfere, there's a different set of other questions altogether. Mr. Bhaskar knows very well that there are times when the politicians will come in, and there are times that the politicians stay away. You can't have a rule book for all these things, because these things happen on the go.
Okay, I take your point that you're making, but Bhaskar Rao, respond. You see, increasingly it appears that the role of the RCB, the franchise, as well as of KSC is also under the scanner. You may want a political scapegoat. There is an inquiry on. Should we wait till the inquiry is over at least before we rush to judgment?
I'm surprised, Rajdeep, that you found some point over there, though Deepak is a good friend of mine, and his anger is only an indication of the state of affairs in his own party and the way they're handling the situation. Every day the Chief Minister started lying. Let me make it very clear to you. First day he says we could not assess the crowd. Second day he places the police commissioner under suspension. Third day he says nobody informed me. Means, is this the way a head of a state talks? And I'm surprised, appalled, that Deepak says there is no incident at Vidhan Sauda, but an incident took place near the stadium. Who called for all these things? Who hosted all these things over there? And who is responsible for this 11 people's death?
Hosted, let's be clear, hosted by KSCA. No, 1 minute. At Chinnaswamy Stadium, hosted by KSCA and RCB.
Deepak, that is not yet clear. Don't jump to conclusion. Rajdeep, don't jump to conclusion on that matter. Who called these people in less than 24 hours from Ahmedabad just because a few players wanted to go away? The police commissioner has been saying that there's an uncontrollable frenzy, wait for 2 days and we will do it. So, who has the vicarious responsibility? Not just because you, I and XYZ pressurize the government. The government has a mind of its own to take a decision over there. Whether it is in KSC or whether it is in Vidhan Sauda. You have to take an overall decision. And why the interest
So where does the buck, so according to you as a former commissioner of police, where does the buck stop? If the police commissioner has not given permission, where does it stop?
The buck stops with the chief minister and with nobody else. Look at
not the home minister.
Look at the hurry with which the
not
program
the home minister
was
also.
in Vidhan Sauda. Even for official programs, 3 to 4 days is required for permission to be granted. Who is coming? Who are the people? What are their antecedents? Did you see the crowd? People were standing on statues. People were standing on High Court walls over there. And absolutely all rules and regulations were cast to the winds. And the Chinnaswamy Stadium stampede, which is taken place, Chief Minister cannot wash his hands off the whole thing. It is a vicarious responsibility, and he is the one who has approved.
So you're saying the Chief Minister
activities to take place.
I take your point, sir. I take your point. Mr. Thimaya, the fact is that it appears that both the Chief Minister, Deputy Chief Minister, Home Minister all became fanboys for a day. Chief Minister organizes something in Vidhan Sauda, DKS gets involved with the function at KSCA. I mean, you surely need some chain of authority which makes it very clear no function means no function. If it is a security hazard, it's a security hazard. How can you overrule your police commissioner and top police officials?
Mr. Bhaskarav himself, who is a very learned man, intelligent, who has actually seen the police force from the closest quarters possible. Let me tell you that he himself is saying about the kind of euphoria that was there. People climbing onto the trees and climbing onto the court building, climbing onto literally everything. Perhaps they would have even climbed onto the light poles also. But let me tell you, with that kind of a frenzy, if Mr. Bhaskarav, even with his knowledge of the police force, thinks that, the police force can actually control people climbing the trees and climbing the buildings and jumping off
don't have a function in the first place.
You
could have told the franchise, sorry, we are not having it. No, 1 minute. Mr. Thimaya, there is a response. You cannot tell me that the government is run by a private franchise.
Exactly.
Stampede could happen even in a marriage function, Mr. Sardesai. You know it very well. And you can't just, assume things and start stopping things all over the country. Let me tell you, yesterday was a train accident in Mumbai. Didn't the railways know that if you don't have automatic gates, that people would be hanging from the doors? And has the railway minister even opened his mouth about it? Let me tell you, why accountability only about the Congress government? Perhaps you think Congress government is such a mature government. It can own up, perhaps, at least, the Congress government can say that, yes, we have a legacy of running this country for a long time, so you expect us to respond. I understand. You know very well Mr. Ashwin Vaishnav will never open his mouth and Mr. Modi will never own up the responsibility. Anybody dies, it's their problem. In Congress state, anybody dies, it's the government's problem. I understand. We take the responsibility.
Sir, you've given me an entry point to Mr. Bhaskar Rao to conclude. Mr. Bhaskar Rao, today BBC Hindi has brought out a stellar investigation showing actually 82 people have died in the Kumbh Mela Stampede of January. The government of Uttar Pradesh said 31. They don't even acknowledge. At least the Karnataka government has acknowledged that the number of people has been honest enough. Your BJP government in Uttar Pradesh doesn't even acknowledge that 82 people died. They say 31 people died. What moral right do you have to attack the Congress? Did anybody resign in Kumbh Mela? No. Has anybody resigned, as Deepak Thimaya says, in any BJP-ruled state? You all don't resign ever. You want Congress to resign.
No, Rajdeep, don't get in such a hurry mode over there. If you think 82 people and not 83 people have or 84 people have, go file an affidavit. No. Go file an affidavit before Supreme Court. What stops you from doing that? Go and do it.
So no one in a BJP-ruled state must resign. The Congress chief minister must resign.
No. See, if you are talking with a BBC report over there, BBC report, how much cognizance needs to be taken. If you think the BBC has got a report, go take a BBC report and go and file a petition in the High Court. File an affidavit over there. Is it talking through the hat or talking law over here?
No, should we say that every time there is a stampede, a chief minister or home minister must resign? Simple, straight question, straight answer.
Of course. What do you think? Human life is so cheap or what?
So whether it's a BJP-ruled state or a Congress-ruled state, they must resign.
Over there, if they are found to be guilty, and they are responsible for that, here you can't even. It can be a separate discussion. Kumbh versus RCB Stampede is a separate subject. I can speak on that. Kumbh is an organized event for which all the planning was there. The chief minister himself and the whole government was involved over there. Here, you have no semblance of planning, no semblance of preparation, and then you would say that commissioner is lying, commissioner did not tell me, shifting blames, responsibilities, etc., etc.
Okay.
You are trying to
I have heard,
not showing any political maturity.
I agree with you that there must be responsibility. I agree with you, there must be responsibility, there must be accountability. I don't want to engage in whataboutery, but it is very clear. It is very clear that what is sauce for the goose will also one day be sauce for the gander. Let me leave it there. Let me leave it there. Clearly, Mr. Thimaya and Mr. Bhaskar Rao, we will wait to see whether any political heads roll or whether it's the police alone that remains the fall guy. Thank you very much both of you for joining me on my Face Off. Let's turn to another big story. We're moving fast with lots of news today. It's a murder she wrote. Honeymoon that ended in homicide. More chilling details have now emerged in the Sonam Raja sensational murder case. India Today accessing WhatsApp chats that reveal that Sonam plotted her husband's murder 3 days after their wedding. Arvind Oja with the details.
Cheating wife, Supari killers, and a murder. The sordid saga of Sonam Bewafa unravels with shocking revelations coming to the fore. What began as a picture-perfect wedding has now turned into a chilling crime plot. As the probe intensifies, shocking details emerge on how Sonam Raghuvanshi planned the murder. Sources say that Sonam and Raja got married through Raghuvanshi app. In January 2025, a series of conversations took place between the two families which ended in the wedding. Sources say it was Sonam who allegedly plotted to get Raja murdered. Sources also reveal that Sonam allegedly told Raj Kushwaha to arrange Supari killers to eliminate Raja. And to make things look normal, Sonam allegedly told Raj Kushwaha to stay in Indore throughout. The police sources say phone chats have shed more light on the conspiracy. According to them, messages between Sonam and Raj Kushwaha revealed that she was not happy with Raja and wanted to get rid of him. Sonam allegedly told Raj that she did not like her husband getting intimate with her, according to sources. The duo allegedly discussed how to get rid of Raja and how Shillong was a safe location to eliminate Raja. Families and friends of Sonam and Raj Kushwaha denied rumors of romantic relationship between him and Sonam.
राज दीदी बोलता तो कैसे बॉयफ्रेंड हो सकती है? 2 साल से बोल रहे, मतलब कहाँ से मैं वो हो गया कि बॉयफ्रेंड बोल दिया? कहाँ से? राखी बनवाने आया था कितनी बार यहाँ तो उनके घर पे
सोनम से।
हाँ, अब भाई बोलते तो बनवाएगा। मैं चाहता हूँ सीबीआई जांच एक बार हो तो एकदम जो मेन पॉइंट है वो पकड़ा जाए सब।
सोनम अपनी बातें सारी मुझसे शेयर करती थी, बट उन बातों में कभी भी ये नहीं आया कि मेरे कोई कलीग हैं, मेरे कलीग के साथ मेरी ये बात चल रही है, मेरे कलीग के साथ मेरा ये रिलेशन, कभी भी ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं बोला उसने।
Sonam has now been arrested and taken into 72-hour transit remand by Meghalaya police under Operation Honeymoon. With Arvind Ojha in Shillong, Bureau Report, India Today.
And joining me now is a very special guest, joined by the Chief Minister of Meghalaya, Conrad Sangma, who's taken a very strong view against the manner in which this entire investigation was played out in the media, in particular the media trial. Conrad Sangma ko gussa kyun aata hai? Conrad Sangma, why are you angry over the way this murder, which has captured the attention of the nation, has played out?
We have, as politicians and as a government, we are always, blamed for a lot of things, and finger is always pointed at us, and we're used to it. But what was different in this particular case was that it went beyond that. There was kind of, a narrative being created regarding the people of the Northeast, the people of Meghalaya, and some very bad and negative comments and things that really should not have happened, and comments that should have never come started surfacing, and people started commenting in a very, very bad way. I think it's really hurt the sentiments of the people of the region, and especially of the state of Meghalaya. So that's what really made us concerned about this. And it's not about anger. It's about the sentiments and being hurt, that people jump to conclusions even before or without even knowing the facts. That's really what the matter was.
Is that part of the problem that that you and others in the Northeast have always been angry about, this stereotyping, typecast, that because the murder happens in Meghalaya, locals may be involved, it's an unsafe place for tourism, and then there's an element of racial profiling as well. Is that what has angered you, as you said just now? And is this simply another manifestation of it?
Yeah, of course, as I said, the negative comments that came in and the comments that became very personal in nature and really went into the different, culture and aspects of tribal communities. I think this was really unfair, and it looked very bad, and it sends a very wrong message to the country as a whole. And, even after 75, 78 years of independence, if we're still going to be talking in that line and in this negative way and jumping to conclusions and branding people in certain ways and communities in certain ways, I think anybody would be angry about it. But as I said, for us, we are a society that is forgiving. We're a society that is very cultured. Our tribal community is a very peace-loving community. Rajdeep, you'll be happy to know that today there was a special prayer service that the people of Sora had come out and prayed for the family of the deceased. And you will not see this kind of a behavior or a kind of a reaction in any other part of the country. But that's how our people are. Though we are hurt, but as I said, we respect what has happened and we still care about what has happened. And a very powerful message was given by the people of that area where they came out and prayed for the life and the soul of late Raja.
But at the same time, the Confederation of Meghalaya Social Organizations, a prominent Shillong-based civil society group, wants a public apology from Sonam Raghuvanshi's family. We are told that the Meghalaya police is planning to file FIRs against some of those who made these unsubstantiated allegations against the tribal people of Meghalaya, against the Meghalaya government. Is that true? Are you going to file FIRs against those who made these statements on social media or elsewhere?
The other different organizations are, of course, as I said, very upset about this whole thing. And yes, you cannot control people's sentiments. And there could be different organizations, different individuals, and take up this whole thing in a legal format for terms of filing an FIR. But that's something that's natural. But what I'm telling you that the people of that area that where this incident happened, the area where the tourism is very large, which is Cherrapunji, as we call it, Sora, the local name. There, this prayer meeting took place. So therefore, of course, there will be a lot of reactions. But again, as I said, the other side also of the story is that that's how our people have responded to this. And as I said, even had a prayer meeting. So FIR may be lodged. There may be individuals who are very upset and they may go ahead and choose that option. That is something that could happen. Absolutely.
Are you also proud of your Meghalaya police who've cracked the case? Because they, at the end of the day, have shown that they have apparently got the right culprits.
We were very closely following the different aspects of the investigation. And of course, we were kept in the loop about different developments. But I can tell you the pressure under which they have worked, I think that is really what has made the difference. The way at the national level the issue was taken up put a different level of pressure. It was not a normal investigation, a normal case. It was a very high-profile case in one way. And having performed, with such accuracy and with data, information, and technology, all credit goes to the police. And therefore, they did an excellent job. And, and they also, of course, got cooperation from the Madhya Pradesh as well as the UP police and different agencies. And, they really worked well. And that's how this was done. And I think what is most important is that it's not about cracking the case alone. It was also about the larger messaging, which you have just mentioned, that because of what they did and they achieved, I think the entire people of the state of Meghalaya and the whole of Northeast today are proud of Meghalaya police.
In conclusion, the big message, in a way, is perhaps that the last thing you need when a high-profile crime investigation is a parallel media trial, wherein presumptions are made, assumptions are made, and maybe that's a lesson in a way that the media also needs to learn.
Absolutely, Rajdeep, this is very important. And also it's important for not just the media, but even different social media influencers, as well as the public in general, need to realize that we need to be sensitive about what we say in the thing. These are things that can damage. This could happen anywhere in the country. This could happen to anybody, in the world. So therefore, jumping to these kind of conclusions doesn't really help the whole situation, and it really brings out a lot of negativity. So you're absolutely right, Rajdeep, and I hope we all learn from this and come out better.
Well, I only hope that the people who pass those unfortunate defamatory comments about your lovely state apologize to the wonderful people of Meghalaya, and may tourism in particular grow. You have a lovely state and lovely people, and the last thing you want is to get caught in what seems to be actually a love triangle murder. Conrad Sangma, for joining me, thank you very much.
Thank you, Rajiv. Thank you so much.
Let's turn to tonight's Get Real India story, where patients at Lucknow's top government hospitals are being forced to buy medicines from outside, even for basic treatment. Despite Deputy Chief Minister Brajesh Pathak's inspections and warnings, India Today's reality check reveals the rot is running deep in several hospitals. Here's our Get Real India story.
A shocking reality inside Lucknow's top government hospitals. Patients are forced to buy medicines from outside. This was recently revealed in an inspection by Deputy Chief Minister Brajesh Pathak, who issued notices to doctors.
समय-समय पर विभिन्न अस्पतालों का आकस्मिक निरीक्षण मैं स्वयं करता रहता हूं। बलरामपुर हॉस्पिटल जब पहुंचे तो वहां पर मरीजों से मैंने बात किया। पता चला कुछ चिकित्सक हैं जो दवाइयां हमारे यहाँ जो उपलब्ध हैं उनका नाम बदल करके दूसरे ब्रांड की दवाइयां लिख रहे हैं। तो हमने उनको तत्काल नोटिस जारी किया है और 24 घंटे के अंदर जवाब मांगा है। दवाइयां जो मेरे यहाँ उपलब्ध हैं 100% दवाइयां उपलब्ध हैं, और ये दवाइयां उपलब्ध नहीं है तो आपको 20% धनराशि हम उपलब्ध कराते हैं कि आप तत्काल लोकल परचेज करके दवाइयां उपलब्ध कराएं मरीजों को।
How deep is the rot? India Today did a reality check. The first stop, the Balrampur Hospital, visited by the Deputy Chief Minister. Patients like Inderjeet say they are often told to buy medicines from outside, spending up to 300 rupees a week.
दवाइयों का क्या सिस्टम है? जो दवाइयाँ डॉक्टर साहब लिखते हैं वो सब मिल जाती हैं यहाँ पे?
कभी कदार नहीं मिलती हैं,
कभी कभी नहीं मिलती हैं, तो फिर क्या करते हैं?
तो बाहर से लेना पड़ता है।
डॉक्टर क्या कहते हैं, बाहर से ले लो?
हाँ,
कुछ लोग भी यहाँ पर सुना है मैंने पैसे ऐसे लेते हैं लाइन में आगे बढ़ाने के लिए।
हाँ, कभी कदार ये भी होता है।
क्या होता है?
पैसे लेके।
कौन लेता है पैसे?
एक राजा नाम था, हमसे भी लिए, अब आज है नहीं, हम क्या करें।
राजा नाम का लड़का है।
Shyama Prasad Mukherjee's civil hospital paints a similar picture. Mukesh Maurya is being treated for thyroid. Says he often gets his medicine from outside the hospital.
ये सारी दवाइयाँ मिल गई, केवल थायराइड की जो है जो सीसी आती है वही सीसी नहीं मिली बस।
मेन थायराइड वाली नहीं मिली?
12.5 mg की है वो नहीं मिली यहाँ पे। अच्छा। वो कभी नहीं मिलती।
कब से दिखा रहे हैं आप?
हो गए 6 महीने।
6 महीने हो गए? 6 महीने में एक बार भी नहीं मिली?
नहीं, कभी नहीं मिली। यहाँ वो मिलती नहीं है, बाहर से लेना पड़ता है।
Ratnesh, another patient, points out the tick marks on prescriptions.
कितनी है? 4-5 दवाइयाँ देख रहा हूँ। तो सभी मिल गई यहाँ सिविल में?
नहीं, एक दवा कहने लगे बाहर से लीजिए।
कौन सी दवा इसमें से?
चौथे नंबर की।
अच्छा, देखिए आप इसमें देखिए टिक लगा, आपको दिखेगा। मैंने आपको जो पुराने केसेस में दिखाया कि जो अगर 4 दवाइयाँ लिखी हैं उसमें से एक दवाई में यहाँ पर टिक लगा है, और जिनका टिक लगा है उसका मतलब है दवाई बाहर से लीजिए। उन्होंने खुद का बाहर से ले लिया।
हाँ, वहाँ बताया बाहर से।
At CHC Indranagar, the situation is no different. Women patients say that most tests and medicines have to be sourced externally.
मेरा तो देखिए ये है,
हाँ,
ये 3 टेस्ट लिखे हैं, जिसमें से 2 बाहर है, तो एक शुगर का बस हो रहा था। अब इंसान 100 रुपए की शुगर के लिए सोचेगा वो भी बाहर करा ले।
तो ये तो बड़ा टेस्ट भी बाहर कराई है, तो इलाज ही क्यों करा रही है? यहाँ वो भी प्राइवेट करा ली।
फीस बच जाती है।
फीस बच जाती है बस। तो मतलब डॉक्टर साहब को पता कि नहीं मिलेगी यहाँ?
डॉक्टर ने खुद बोला।
क्या कह रहे थे?
क्या कह रहे हैं, ये दवाई यहाँ नहीं मिलेगी, आप बाहर से ले लो।
The question still remains, will the Deputy Chief Minister's inspections and notices will be enough to break the nexus between government hospitals and outside medical stores? With Samarth Shivastav, Bureau Report, India Today.
Good strong story there in public interest. Now in India Today fact check, a claim was made that Congress leader Supriya Shrineth has been seen with Vijay Mallya. Fact is, the photo that you see on the screen is AI generated. Supriya Shrineth was not seen with Vijay Mallya. Okay, to our good news today story, and it comes from Karnal in Haryana. A farmer's bold bet on apples is paying off. Narendra Chauhan planted heat-tolerant varieties of apples, and in 5 years, his orchard is thriving. With yields improving and profits growing, Chauhan is making now other farmers make the switch. Take a look at our good news today story.
An apple orchard in Haryana. A farmer planted apple on 1.5 acres of land in Karnal 5 years ago. Narendra Chauhan claims his experiment is now bearing fruit.
पालमपुर यूनिवर्सिटी ने कोई होशियारपुर में किसी किसान के यहाँ सेब उगाए थे, उसकी फ़ोटो पंजाब केसरी में आई। जब मैंने वो देखा तो मैंने फिर वहाँ पालमपुर यूनिवर्सिटी जाकर के सारी जानकारी ली और वो पेड़ ला करके यहाँ लगाए।
Compared with last year, the yield has been better this time.
तीसरे साल इन पे अच्छे से फल आ गया। जब फल आ गया तो मैंने सारे किसानों को बताना शुरू किया कि आप भी सेब उगाइए और अच्छा प्रॉफिट पाइए। एक सेब के पेड़ से 5 साल के बाद कम से कम 60 से 80 किलो, कम से कम 80 किलो के आसपास सेब एक पेड़ से मिल जाता है।
According to Chauhan, this variety of apple can withstand the summer heat.
मॉइस्चर के लिए हमने क्या किया, जो हमारे पराली होती है ना, जिसे हम जलाते हैं, लोग जलाते हैं, उसको बिछा दिया गया। तो हल्का सा मॉइस्चर इसमें अगर मेंटेन रखें तो अच्छे से सेब होता है।
Chauhan says farmers should change from paddy and wheat to other crops to increase their incomes. After his success, Chauhan is now helping local farmers to make the shift. With Kamaldeep, Bureau Report, India Today.
And staying with Apple, but Apple of a different kind, is our image of the day. An Apple store being unfortunately looted in downtown Los Angeles amidst violence, unrest with some looters trapped inside as the police arrived on the scene. These are scenes in the United States of America, which prides itself as a developed nation, and this is what we are seeing. The ugly, dark side of America, looting taking place inside an Apple store during the Los Angeles anti-immigration riots that are taking place. There are some looters trapped inside the store. Shocking images coming in once again from LA. That is our image tonight. You stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubh Ratri. Jai Hind. Namaskar.